the major ways they control the general population is through fractional reserve banking, which in layman's terms is this. The law states basically that you only have to have 10% of the money you loan out in reserves at the bank. So, if someone, say, deposits $100 into said bank, the bank can then lend out $90. They only have to keep 10% of that loan in their reserves. So the person who they then loaned the $90 to then puts the $90 into their account. The bank can now lend $81 from that deposit. That $81 is then deposited again, allowing the bank to now lend $72.90. And this keeps on going and plays itself out until the entire $100 is now representing the 10% of $1,000. $900 made out of thin air. This serves two purposes. It dilutes the economy, causing inflation, decreasing the value of your dollar, and it also siphons more money from the public to the banks, as all those loans collect interest. Interest on money that was created from nothing. All right, so maybe letting the very people who caused the panic of 1907 draft the so-called solution to it in the Federal Reserve Act of 1913 wasn't the best of ideas. I'm just saying. But again, how do I know all this? President Trump told me. This is why they don't want you to look at these posts. He also told me about the Rothschilds. Here's a list of every single Rothschild-controlled bank. Or here's a doozy where he mentions the Black Forest. The Black Forest is where they used to hunt humans, like in the Ice-T movie Surviving the Game. Well, it just so happens that right after he posted that, the Rothschilds scrambled out of nowhere to sell a hunting property in Austria the size of Manhattan for a fraction of its worth. The Rothschilds' banking clan was started by Mayor Amschel Rothshild, who had learned of this fractional reserve banking scam, the scam that was perfected by the Bank of England less than a century earlier. He then sent his 5 sons all across Europe to start his empire. This is why the MSM tries to steer you away from QAnon with wild misinformation of JFK Jr. and mysterious secrets being held back, right? That's why the Q drops are so coveted. He just ripped the veil off for everyone and then sent them to start digging. And that's what I believe the final part of the 9/13/1721 was. Because Anons have taken this info and have been digging up heaps of dirt on everyone and everything for the last 2 straight years. That's why these platforms are scrambling to censor everyone. That's why they're scrambling to steer people away from Q drops. They don't want you to see what this movement is truly about, because once they lose you guys, they lose all power. If you really want to fight the evil oligarch and the evil banks, this is the way. Once you realize that Trump supporters are nothing like they say we are, and we all unite, it's over. We agree with things Bernie says. We just don't simply agree with the second half. For example, Bernie says that someone shouldn't have to work 40 hours a week and not make enough money to feed his family. Agreed. Like I said earlier, the banking system is a purposeful scam to keep us poor. But what I don't agree is that the second half, where his solution is to raise our taxes, yes, our taxes, stated right in the debates that not only the rich, but was also going to tax the middle class. Taxes fund these very same bankers and oligarchs you're wishing to take out of power. How is your solution to raise them? Taxes were permanently implemented after Social Security set the precedent to garnish wages, and income taxes were sold as a way to pay back the interest to the Federal Reserve on money they created out of thin air. Money being paid to trillionaires. All right? We should be trying to raise taxes.